from your break. I have started the recording, so we can share this afterwards. Just like to welcome Daniel Fontaneda to the stage. Daniel is currently a design system lead at Bumble. He has lots of experience as a designer working on UX for companies such as Amazon and Vodafone in the past, as well as many design agencies. So Daniel, I will now officially hand over and
Perfect.
let you start now that we're recording. Take it away, please.
Okay, perfect. So yes, I was saying, first of all, I want to thank you and your team for organizing this great event again and giving me the opportunity to talk in front of you all today. I'm, I'm excited to share insights about how I'm leading the design system at BumbleLink and the challenges that we are facing with the strategies we use to overcome them and make the design system more relevant at Bumble. I hope that you find this session informative and inspiring. So first of all, I would like to start introducing myself. So my name is Danny, as you said, and I'm currently the design system lead at BumbleLink. My role is to lead the design system team and to define its strategy, roadmap, and oversee the results and impact within the company. In this talk, I want to talk more about how to manage the design system holistically within an organization. It is true that many talks within the community are focused on demonstrating how to perform certain tasks within the design system of your company, or how teams evolve, grow size, and use the tools and processes related with the design system. But this talk will be different and will be focused more on how to drive the success of the design system within your company. One thing that always catches my attention when I attend the talks or conferences is that almost all our design systems face similar challenges. I have always found it particularly useful to understand how other teams address these challenges, which go far beyond to use the tools. These challenges are more related to the position of the design system within your companies, how it adds values to the team, and how its role becomes increasingly relevant, ensuring our companies are efficient and create products with high quality standards. To better understand the context of what we'll see better, I would like to show you how my team serves the product ecosystem at BumbleLink. So as you can see on this slide, currently my team works on the creation, maintenance, and evolution of a multi-brand design system that serves products and engineering teams for Bumble, Badoo, and BFF apps. All of this is also a multi-platform design systems, since we are a company where almost all our users come from native platforms. As you can imagine, this structure and our role within it increases the complexity and the challenges we face in our day-to-day work. While it is true that working with 3 product teams in parallel helped us to share knowledge, act as the bridge between them, and create a multi-brand design system and contribute to the design quality of those projects, we have to create a design system that is controllable, scalable, and at the same time allows the uniqueness of each product and each brand. This has presented us certain challenges in terms of how we handle all the demand received from these independent products in parallel that have their own roadmaps and product teams and requirements. So working in these ecosystems, I had to spend a lot of time of improving and adapting the product holistically and its role within the company. So now let's take a look at the challenges that we faced. In this slide, we have 5 challenges that we face when driving the evolution of our design system. I would like to make a stop in here and ask you if you face similar challenges. Put in the chat just the numbers of similar challenges that you faced on your design system teams or in previous companies that you worked on. So I will read over the challenge just to give you an overview, but the first one is being as a small team with big ambitions, stakeholders awareness of the design system and its benefits, a lack of clarity in communicating our purpose, being satisfied with the current status of things, and need to evolve in parallel in different product areas. Yeah, I see that you face all of this. 1, 4. This looks very familiar, all of them. Yeah, it is what I was imagining. So as you can see, these are all common challenges that our teams face in their daily work, which go beyond the proper use of the tools or the internal processes that we define for the correct functioning of the design system. These challenges are tied to the role of the design system within the company, and by addressing them, we saw how it became more relevant into the picture. So during the presentation, we will see how my team and I have addressed each of these challenges and discussed the principles and techniques that we have used and that helped us to improve the role of the design system within Bumble. Moving to the next slide, the first one, as you saw on the list, is being a small team with big ambitions. And to face this challenge, we invested a lot on automation. We started the challenge of being a small team with big ambitions. Typically, everyone I have met working on this area of the product design is very passionate, eager to continuously learn, and committed to provide the best support possible to other teams within the company. However, the size of the teams is usually smaller than the desire to handle this entire workload and the rapid evolution compared to other teams in the business. This requires us to always be alert to any opportunity that may arise to become more efficient in our daily work. Automation plays a key role on addressing these kind of challenges. Being in a small team, your time is really valuable. And that time needs to be dedicated to tasks and processes where your actions or knowledge add value. To achieve that quality time, it is important to eliminate all those repetitive tasks that can be potentially automated. The tools that we use evolve at such rapid pace that stabilizing this automation is becoming easier and more necessary every day. This automation can be in how components or guidelines are created or updated, how documentation is maintained also, and how it can exist and how we can automate other types of tasks into the design system. Basically, everything that can be automated should be automated. It will require an initial setup time, but soon you will see how your team has more time to dedicate to tasks where the human factor and knowledge have a much greater impact. And more importantly, you will see how your entire design system moves and evolves in a synchronized way, which simply reduces inconsistencies as well as the scope of human error. Moving to the next slide, I wanted to summarize which were the key benefits that we got from investing into automation. So investing in automation will only not have an impact on the speed, but also on the quality of the work that your team delivers. First, automation helped us to reduce the time spent on repetitive tasks. Second, automation helped us to ensure uniformity and synchronization between design and code, something that is really important when you are moving into a fast environment and you are getting a request almost every day. This also means that our design components in Figma, the documentation and all that comes from the design side is fully aligned with what exists into the code basis and remains consistency with few actions for maintaining that. Third, automation reduces room for human error. This is really important because, as you know, when working on the design system, you need to pay attention to keep everything aligned and synchronized. And if you set up a correct automation between the tools that you use, the processes that you follow and all that, it will allow you to reduce the human error when keeping things aligned. The fourth one is the automation makes the system more controllable and scalable. As our company and product offering grows, an automated design system can easily adapt and scale without requiring a proportional increase in manual effort. And lastly, automation frees up time to work on more strategic work and allow the team to focus on more strategic areas of the product. In summary, automation is a must on every design system that not only enhances efficiency and consistency, but also enables our team to operate at a higher level of productivity and creativity. Moving to the next one, it is related with the second challenge that we saw, that is stakeholders' awareness of the design system and its benefits. The challenge is how we address the awareness of the design system and its advantages within our company. This is a challenge that, depending on the company that you work for, can be at different levels. But I will mention that something that is common to all the teams and potentially everyone that is on this talk today. That is not no one in your company knows the design system, its vision, and the impact that it can have on the company better than you and your team. So don't be afraid to be persistent, to be repetitive, and always work in the direction that you believe the most. This is not a call for rebellion, but rather than a reminder to give up and to not give up quickly when you believe the design system can play a key role in improving processes or projects such as launching a rebranding, for example, or working on improvements related with accessibility of your products. Usually, if you have conversations with leaders within your company, these are roles that have a huge pile of tasks and proposals from all the teams. So it makes very difficult to gain traction from the beginning. So don't be afraid to think that you are saying the same over and over again, and don't give up too soon. This will help you to improve how you deliver the message and also to reach the right people within your company. So moving to the summary of the benefits that we got of investing into Persistent, it is the first one is Persistent increased stakeholders buy-in and user adoption in our company by continuously advocating for the design system and demonstrating its value. We got more support from stakeholders, sponsorship on investing on the design system, and we ensure that it is widely adopted across the organization and across all our products. Persistence also led us to maintain high standards and consistent quality, but not setting the status quo and always striving from excellence. We can uphold the quality and standards of our design components. Third, persistence allowed us to establish knowledge among the teams about the design system. Repeatedly communicating what we do and what we are planning to do next helped embed this knowledge within the teams, making them more proficient and aligned within the design system goals. The fourth benefit that we got from investing into Persistent, it was to drive a continuous iteration and refinement, leading to a more robust and efficient design system. By consistently seeking feedback and making improvements, we ensure that the design system evolves and adapts to the changing needs of the organization. And finally, Persistent shape and influence the product direction, leveraging your expertise to drive impactful changes. So in summary, summary was key to achieve a long-term success and maximizing the impact on the design system at Bambling for us. Moving to the next one, change the slide. Yeah, it is the lack of clarity on communicating our purpose. Everyone in our career has faced challenges to adequately express what we have in our minds. In my case, this is something that I've worked over the years, and what has helped me the most on this task, like any other designer, I guess, is demonstration. When we talk about the design system and its impact and purpose in different areas of the business, this approach is even more relevant because our communication needs to focus on demonstrating the value that the design system brings to those areas. My team and I have worked hard to demonstrate this impact with a very simple script, showing the difference between how it was without the design system and how it could have been with the design system. This demonstration ensures that the communication is centered on impact and data rather than the design system itself as a product within the company. There are many areas where this principle can be applied, and in all of them, it will help you to communicate the message more clearly and easier to understand by the people working on those areas. So moving to the benefits that we got because investing on demonstration. So investing in demonstration had a series of benefits for us that ensure that what our team had in mind was conveyed clearly to the rest of the teams and stakeholders. Demonstration helped us to make abstract concepts tangible, helping stakeholders and other teams to understand the value and functionality of the design system in different areas of the product and the business. Demonstration also helped us to capture attention by presenting a vision of how things could be. Something that I highly recommend is to pay special attention to demonstrate the missed opportunities that your company might be facing by not having a solid and well-adopted design system in the product. Usually, here you can easily get data on how efficient some processes or projects are and demonstrate how they could have been with the design system in place. Demonstrating how the design system helps in different areas also leads to greater acceptance and use among the teams. You can show how to properly use the components, the documentation, or even the processes to follow when there is a connection with the design system. This demonstration also helps teams to apply and use the design system consistently through the entire product. Lastly, it helped us to increase the confidence in the design system, which translates into greater involvement. As you can see, leading a design system not only focuses on its proper construction, but also on knowing how to communicate and demonstrate its purpose and impact in the company. So moving to the next one, The challenge that we faced sometime in the past, it was to being satisfied with the current status of things, and this is one of the main how can I say, one of the biggest mistakes that your team can make. Design systems evolve much faster than you, your team, and your company do. So tools become more powerful, automation is more present, and even the scope of the design system continues to grow in companies that want to operate more efficiently. That's why maintaining a culture of continuous modernization is essential to prevent your design system to become obsolete. This modernization can be triggered by different reasons. It is crucial to stay close to the needs of your teams, since we ultimately create a product for them, but also to have a clear vision of how the company will evolve in the medium and the long term. This will be very important when making certain decisions about your design system. On the other hand, many of the answers you are looking for are the same that those other teams have faced or are currently facing, including answers to questions that you never even consider. Therefore, staying up to date with the latest tools and trends, as well as staying close to the community through this kind of talks, conferences, and interaction with other design system teams really helps to keep your design system modern and being evolving every day. So some of the key benefits that we got from investing in modernization are, for example, that it helped us to get the design system more relevant and adaptable to anything that comes from the roadmaps. So we have been always ahead from the requests that we were getting from the company and had the design system prepared to respond to those kind of projects that we thought that the company could be facing in the future. Additionally, working in this principle in mind helped our team to continuously learn and improve both our knowledge and skill, allowing us to grow and become more experts in our areas. It also had a significant impact on optimizing efforts and resources. For us, working with more modern tools and processes translated into improved team efficiency. Constant modernization also makes us our product increasingly intuitive and engaging for our users. Showing the teams how all the new features that, for example, Figma is releasing or other tools are releasing and the best practices that we are using in the design system helped us to maintain a good relationship with the teams and keep them interested and willing to see the new features and improvements that we are bringing to the design system that then they will use. So you can imagine, for example, how we were including Figma variables and modes to switch components between every brand and all those things. So these are usually things that keep a good relationship with allows you to keep a good relationship with the teams, and it's something that you need to bring to the design system. And finally, it positions our company well to respond efficiently to certain challenges or big projects that it might face in the future. So the next one and the last, it is the need to evolve in different, in parallel and several different areas of the product in parallel. I would like to focus on how to tackle the challenge to high workloads that our team sometimes face. In a company like mine, where the design system serves 3 products simultaneously, it is crucial to have a team of experts and a culture of ownership within it, capable of adapting the workload peaks and providing efficient responses to all of them. Recently, my team has supported 2 new rebrandings of our main products, Bumble and Badoo, and this was only possible by having a team where each member has governance and autonomy over each pillar of the design system, and in turn collaborate in a very efficient way between them. Therefore, it is very important to create a solid team that has passion for each of the pillars of the design system, knows how to take responsibility, and has the autonomy to work efficiently when projects demand it. So the key benefits that we got from stabilizing ownership in our team, it was that having a team that makes ownership on these areas is essential for the smooth and efficient functioning of our design system. The first, ownership ensures that each of the parts of the design system is well maintained and continuously improved. When team members have a clear ownership, they are more committed to keep their areas up to date and functionally optimally. Second, ownership promotes better coordination and efficiency with designated owners for each area. Coordination between different parts of the design system becomes more streamlined, leading to overall efficiency. Third, ownership motivates each of the members to keep high standards in their areas. When individuals are responsible for specific components or areas of the product, they are more likely to maintain high standards to ensure quality on their work. Fourth, ownership encourages team members to innovate and improve their areas. Having autonomy and responsibility drives individuals to find new and better ways to enhance their specific areas of the design system. And finally, ownership facilitates a good dynamic and vibe within the team. When everyone knows their role and responsibilities, it fosters a positive team environment when the members feel valued and motivated. In summary, investing in ownership, it is key to ensure that the design system is well maintained, efficient, innovate, and maintains high quality while promoting positive team culture. So doing a final recap, as we come to an end of this presentation, I want to emphasize that there are many principles that can help your design system to succeed. Today, we have discussed a few key principles and how we have applied them to improve our design system at Pambelink, but it doesn't mean that are the only ones that you can apply. While these principles, automation, persistence, demonstration, modernization, and ownership have significantly enhanced our design system, there are certainly other approaches and strategies that can be just as effective. The important thing is to continuously evaluate and adapt your methods to ensure that your design system remains robust, efficient, and aligned with your company goals. By sharing our experience and approaches, I hope to provide valuable insight to you and that you can apply to your own design system. Our journey has shown that with dedication, strategic thinking, and commitment to improvement, it is possible to elevate the role of, and the impact of the design system within your company. So, yeah, moving to the end, I would like to thank you for paying attention to me so far. And as we still have a few minutes to spare, I will happy to answer to any question you might have regarding the content that we saw during the presentation. I will also like to mention that I will be available in LinkedIn, so feel free to send me a message because, as I said, I believe in a community where we all learn from each other, and these kind of conversations are always really inspiring for me.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Daniel. So, round of applause for Daniel and emoji reactions, however you kind of want to do it. But thank you very much for your talk. We have some time for questions, as Daniel said. We've got one or two in the chat already. Feel free to either put your hand up or if you'd like to add your question into the chat, you can do that. We've got a first question from Eleanor here, and her question, which has a lot of likes, is I would love to hear more about how you use automation to optimize your workflow, especially when you've got 3 distinct products as well.
Yeah, that is, I think, a hot topic at the moment. Automation in any design system is something that I guess everyone of us are looking at. And I think in our company, investing in automation and how we did it, it was to help us to keep everything synchronized. So first of all, we looked at how we can synchronize every tool that we used. So we use Figma for the design side of things. We use some custom tools to manage the tokens and to export them to the code repositories. And we also used Supernova to build the documentation of the design system. So the main goal that we established at the beginning when we started to talk about automation, it was to think about how all those tools can be fully in sync and just making changes in one of them. So what we did was kind of an analysis on what were the possibilities that each of the tools allowed us to do, and also detect in which place we wanted to do or to manage kind of the source of truth. So we established the connection between, we use, I forgot to mention, but we also used Tokens Studio to manage the creation of the tokens. So we established the connection between Tokens Studio and Figma. We established the connection between Tokens Studio and Supernova. And then we established the connection between Tokens Studio and the code repositories. So that allow us to build automation in how we were maintaining and evolving all those different pillars of the design system related with the design of the components in Figma, the documentation, and then the code that we were providing to the to the designers, to the engineers. Sorry. So there are other areas that we are also looking at related with automation, and it is everything related with processes and communication. I think there is a huge win for every team to try to automate those things. Imagine how you can potentially automate and give everyone visibility on how the contributions are going, how the requests of support are being handled by your team. So we are keeping automation as one of the key pillars for our team for the long run, and we are trying to detect and invest time on building this automation because we detect that it not only helped us to be more efficient, but it also helped us to be kind of and deliver a better kind of a output from the design system. And related with the three products that you mentioned, so something that we also did last year, it was to stabilize this kind of a global multi-brand design system. So that meant that we needed to change the token architecture that was delivered through the design system and making three levels of information into the design system. So by having component tokens, we are capable to make the components look as each of the teams wants and just investing the effort on creating them once, and then by using the tokens, make them look as expected. So this is really useful for us because previously we would need to repeat almost everything three times. And now by having this multi-brand design system, it not just improves the processes that we follow, but also improves the quality of what we are delivering. So we are bringing the components to a better status. We are taking into consideration inputs from three different teams in parallel, but just delivering one single component. And then each of the components looks as expected for each of the products. So it is how we are handling that, and it is helping us to create a more robust design system at the end.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that thorough answer. Um, so we've got another question in the chat from Paul, and his question is, how do you find the champions? How do you keep them engaged? And what do they do for your design system?
So as I mentioned, we are a small team within Bumble Inc. Compared with other teams. So for us, it was really important to stabilize this connection with champions that could act as our ambassadors across different teams. So first of all, what we did is to start stabilizing kind of lines of communication with the lead designers across every product, because at the end they are the ones which oversee the overall design of the product rather than being working on specific pillars. So we identified them, and then what was also really important for us was to find people which was passionate about design systems and potentially that had experience working with design systems in the past, because they already understand the value, the product, and everything that it brings into the company. So we had a chance to find really good champions from engineering perspective that had the chance to be working on different design systems in the past, in different companies and all that. And it was really useful for us because at the end they are they are taking some work from us, and it doesn't require that we are present on every meeting that happens between product and engineering, right? So having these kind of champions stabilize and define on those teams helped us to be more focused on the creation, evolution, and maintenance of the design system, while these people pay attention to keep the products, both from design and engineering perspective, aligned with what we are providing from the design system.
Okay, fantastic. Caroline, you did have your hand up. Was that for a question for Daniel? But it seems to have gone down since.
I put my hand up to see if I could do it because I was trying to send Daniel a heart for a lovely talk,
Yeah.
and the heart never appeared, and I was feeling frustrated. But I can do a verbal heart by having put my hand up briefly and then putting it down again. So thanks, Daniel.
I
Sorry
got
to
it.
intrude. I was trying to be a
No
little
problem.
bit less obtrusive. Yeah,
Thank you. No,
cheers.
thank
I
you.
think that is the loveliest intrusion someone could possibly have. Someone giving a verb.
You've gone on mute, Imran.
Yeah.
Imran, you're mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yes. I was just looking through the chat. Were there any more questions, or does anyone else want to put their hand up and come in? I think we've got a question from Louise. Um, And her question is, do you share your Figma file in the open? Because she would be interested in seeing the token setup across the three brands. Um, we have a multi-brand design system and currently have three separate Figma files and want to adopt the method you have mentioned. So yeah, I guess how do you work with tokens? Do you have separate Figma files? Is it one Figma file? And are you willing to share that?
Yeah, we have plans to make our kind of all our design system public at some time. The thing is that we are in the middle of the kind of a transition to this global design system, so probably it will happen once it is completed because we are still refining some of the areas. So basically, what we did, and I think it's similar to the setup that you could have, it is that we previously had three different individual libraries for each of the products. So after Figma released the modes and the variables, we thought that we could be able to have one single library into Figma and being able to deliver everything that each of the products needed on their end. So basically, for that, we needed to change the way that we had organized the tokens in our design system and the way that we manage them. So we created this global architecture from which exist overrides for each of the brands. So at the end, each of the brands in this case get the only set of tokens that customize the library based on their need. So I know and I heard that many companies are moving into this direction, and the next step for a design system, especially on companies that have many products, is to go into this direction. And I can say that for us, it was a huge win because we are able to keep the library better maintained with a better quality. We are able to get a kind of insights per each of the brands and adapt to the components. So and at the end we just need to maintain one library compared to three that we had in the past. So this is mainly possible because the evolution of the tools, as we discussed. So it is really important to stay close to what these tools are offering and how you can take the most from them. But in general, yeah, we are planning to make our design system public at some point during the year. But probably once all the change to the new architecture and the recreation of the components is completed. So yeah, probably we can continue the conversation over LinkedIn or whatever, and we can discuss the details about how we ended up into that scenario.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for answering that as well, Daniel. We do have another question from Stuart in the chat, and he's asking for your opinion on this. Is building and maintaining a design system a full-time job, or can it succeed as a side project amongst colleagues? So I guess it would be useful to hear about how things work in Bumble, but also your personal opinion as well.
I think it depends on the scope that you define for the design system. So in our company, as we are collaborating with three different products, the scope of the design system is not just the creation and the delivery of the components. It includes many more things like motion, accessibility guidelines, content guidelines. So everything that could be part of the product design it is, or it should be part of the design system, because what we are trying to do is to get everything that is useful from each of the products and put that into the design system level. So we usually call it kind of a product system, because the scope that we have, it is bigger than the usually set of components and guidelines and patterns that you deliver for the design teams. But I think this is really dependent on each of the companies. So I guess that for companies like have this kind of a multi-product setup, it is a full-time job for sure, because you need someone who pays attention at this holistic level between the products. And that is something that if you have people coming and growing from each of the products, is something that you don't usually get, right? Or is something that usually is left behind. So something that happened at Bumble in the past as well is that we rely a lot into committees, especially from engineering perspective, that were contributing to the design system. And we detected that that is not feasible in the long term, because usually there are competing priorities when you need to dedicate time to evolve the design system, and that is not aligned with the priorities that the design system have and all that. So we treat the design system as a product pillar itself in the company, and for us it's a full-time job. It is true that the boundaries of what we do are not really clear, and I guess that for not many teams are clear, because we try to get us into the design system as much as we can, that can be useful for all the other products, and that can help to optimize processes, that can help to optimize and improve the design quality and all that. So we need to pay attention to many areas of the product and the business. And for us, and especially for me, it is my main role, and also stabilize this connection between the teams, the champions, and all the people who is willing to contribute for the success of the design system.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah,
That's great. Thank you.
Getting lots of agreement with your comments there. Were there any more questions for Daniel before we wrap up for lunch? No? Okay, well, just to let people know what is coming up next, just want to say a big thank you to Daniel first. We are going to have a slightly longer lunch break. So we've got almost an hour and a half, and we will be back at 1:15, and the session running at that time will be the training for the GOV.UK prototype kit with the multi-talented Vicky Tainaki. Just before we head off, just want to give a round of applause again to Daniel. And also, I completely forgot rather rudely to give a round of applause to my colleagues, Trang, Romaric, and Charlotte. So a round of applause for everyone. It's been a great morning so far. Enjoy your lunch break, everyone. And we will see you back here at 1:15.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you.